What is up, good people? Thank you guys for joining Hot Topics. Thank you guys so much. What's up, Angela? You were first, Angela. What's up, Maria? What's going on, Shonda, Connie, and anyone else who just joined? Thank you guys for joining Hot Topics. Do me a favor, please share this video. There are going to be people who are going to say, hey, was that discussed tonight or not? So do me a favor, share this video. What's up, Millicent? What's up, Tawana? Tawana, what's going on? Oh, good old pal, old friend out there. Ladies and gentlemen, let me, I know I took Friday off because I needed like a mental health day because it was just a lot of stuff going on here in the city and I just needed to compress. See, what I'm trying to learn to do is to make sure you take care of yourself. And that's what I've been trying to do, is to make sure that you take that time out to decompress. And as you guys know, who you've been watching, we've had a flood here in Tulsa, and I have just been all over the cities and all over the place. And so it was just really taxing and helping people and directing people. And so I just needed some time to just kind of woosah, right, before I actually cuss a couple of people out. So I needed that time to just kind of chill out for a minute. But anyway, it did me good to even just kind of come back and at least just be able to have a clear mind, clear thoughts. But I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on with the flood, the update, and all those different things. As you know, that the water has receded. A lot of you guys understand that the water has receded. Thank God it has been. There's still work that needs to be done. There are people who are moving into their homes, and they are at a desolate situation. There's people in Sand Springs, people in all the way down to Weber's Fall, Muskogee. It's not just the Tulsa area. It's everyone in the path of that Arkansas River. Sunday, we woke up to another breach, a breach that happened in Arkansas. Then yesterday morning, we woke up to a breach that happened outside of St. Louis, a breach of that runs along the Arkansas River. So this is by far that is over. And I'm encouraged that the citizens of these areas are now asking questions, are now talking. One of the things that I have always said, that do not take anything for granted. A lot of times during these situations, you will have the elected officials come out to paint this rosy, pretty picture. And that's one of the arguments that I've had, is give people the truth. We're adults. We need to have the truth. We don't need to sit back and say to ourselves, oh, everything is cool. No, it's not. It's not. And know that if you guys followed me on Facebook, these are a couple of posts that I've been making, because it is not the truth. Give people the truth. Give people the understanding that people need. These are people's lives. And I don't care if you're friends with individuals or anything. What's up, Jay? I don't care. What's up, Angela? I don't care if you're friends with anybody. I need you as an elected official is to give people the truth. Let them make their decisions. But most importantly, stop trying to paint this rosy picture because for political and politics purposes. But right now we have a lot of people who are cleanup that's happening. And what I'm hearing is that I'm seeing more effort. 450 people showed up to clean up river parks, which you would guess you can get 2 claps from that. But how many people showed up to clean up houses down there that have been affected along Charles Page? It seems as if that our priorities are just wrong. There are individuals who have started GoFundMe's for the battleship, a GoFundMe for the battleship. There was a GoFundMe to help clean the river parks area. You know, I would think that the river parks is not that important. I would really feel as if what's really important is making sure that living, breathing individuals have a place to call home. To me, that's more important. And that's where the attention should be. Not necessarily attention should be on, hey, I want to hike. I want to ski. I want to do whatever. I like the river parks. I think the river parks is good, but I would much more prefer to send money to people who are along that Arkansas River area, that along that levee, and also to spend some of this money to repair some of the damages that was caused by the levee and all those different things. We need to really kind of make sure that our priorities are in order, because lives are at stake, and it's not over. It's not over. I heard the mayor said it's not over. So I hate the fact that we told people to put their sandbags away, because if we put our sandbags away, what happens if we have 5 to 6 constant days of rain now. So, I mean, we don't know if it's going to flood the way it did, but we just need to understand that it's not over. People are still rebuilding. There is mud in people's houses, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell y'all something. The Arkansas River is nothing but mud and dirt. There's always mud and dirt, and it's all in people's houses. And can you imagine the sustainable depression and the mentality that individuals have to deal with when they are coming back home to mud and they have to throw everything away? So I would love for resources to really be focused in that area. We saw that the Vice President, Mike Pence, came down. Also Governor Stint, he was here. What's up, Lori? He came down today. We also saw Ken, one of the representatives here, Ken Hearn, he was here. So we saw them doing a lot of photo ops. I'm just going to call it like it is, exactly what it is. And it was photo ops. They went down to the food bank. They was packing stuff. It was just photo ops. And then he left and toured a couple of areas downtown, and he left. And that's what it was. To me, in my opinion, it was photo op. I want to know how many people that he meet down there in Charles Page. I would love to know how many people did they go and knock on those doors and say, hey, you know, the Vice President would like to see and hear your hear your concerns and find out what we can do, so I can take this back to Congress and be a voice to Congress and let Congress know, hey, we need to get things there. Also, we want to make sure, and thank you, Millicent, for saying this, there's a lot of disease in the air. There's a lot of mold in the air. A lot of you guys are having breathing symptoms. I was talking to someone earlier today, and they was talking about how their breathing has been affected by this flooding, and there's this long-term stench that's happening. And because what has happened is that feces, and this is why they told people stay out of the water, because all this stuff was inside the water. Feces, mold, and just crap, and you know, people's waste, all that stuff was inside these floodwaters. And so we have to rebuild. It's going to take years to rebuild. Dang, you said, and the head of FEMA. Oh wait, there's no head of FEMA. Absolutely. As we continue to grow as a city, as a county, I hope that there is big questions. What happened to the money? You know, me, I'm a huge person to find out what's going on with the money. There was money for a feasibility study. We need to know how far along that is, and I won't go into depths with that tonight. I make that another broadcast, but there is money that we need to find out when the levies. I've heard that Senator Jim Inhofe said that there could be he said nothing could be changed until like 5 years later. And I believe he's right, because he understands that this is where the money has to be released. So and I've heard, and I've also read a lot of people to say, well, you were stupid for living along a flood zone. You was dumb to live along this. You were dumb to live along. I mean, I hear a lot of people who were not affected by the flood flapping them gums. That's exactly what I hear. I hear them, and people who live in privileged areas around the city, and I ain't gonna call them out, but people who live in privileged areas, people who are friends of those who are elected officials who live in these particular areas, they're friends, they were not affected. And so they flapping their gums and they want to protect their elected officials. At the end of the day, I would like for that same energy to be used to protect community people who are involved and who have been affected by this flood. I'm not going to sit up here and give a scorecard to let you guys know how the mayor and the county commissioner, because you probably don't know me. It doesn't matter what I think about. And all I can tell you is that we have more work to be done, and the work that needs to be done is going to be an ongoing work. And I really hope that the mayor, the county commissioners, the mayor of Sand Springs, especially in this local area, all put their heads together and say, how can we organize? How can we make sure that we give these people the things that they know? So number one, they will have the security to know that if this happens again, we will be okay. Number two, they will also know that their government is going to be there for them and not just give them flapping guns lip service. They need to know that. They need to also understand that that their protection of their homes and everything is going to be there. So I've said it before, and I will keep saying this again. Being an elected official is more than just smiles. It is actually about being on the boots on the ground and hard labor. And I am not calling out any person. So don't go back there and say, you know, hey, Mark was talking about you, this person. Mark was talking about that. I'm talking about all elected officials in this state. It is an incumbent upon them to stop flapping their gums and to roll up their sleeves and do some work. That's what, in my opinion, it takes, because I'm done with all the photo ops. I'm done with that. That's BS to me. I want to see you do some work. That's all of that. All right. That's all I have. So please, guys, if there is any volunteering opportunities, please keep watching the city website in reference to there's volunteer opportunities. Please go and volunteer your time to go and help people. If you don't know who to help, I mean, you can join different organizations that are homeowner organizations. You can go to their websites. They need help. There are people who are putting out requests all the time. We need help. We need help. And let's make sure we are definitely helping people. Dan, you said good that people are watching the levees as they did leak, but were fixed. If not for many would have been absolutely, Daniel. And this is one of the reasons why I was out there screaming to the top of my lungs of saying, this shit is leaking. This is leaking. This is leaking. And, they kept pushing back saying, oh, it's not leaking, it's relieving. Oh, it's not this. No, it was leaking. And those are one of the things that I've been trying to say as far as the transparency and the honesty. It was leaking. It is leaking. It was leaking. You got water from here and over to here. That's not normal. Okay. It's leaking. And let's just stop lying to people. And I'm glad that, a lot of the city officials have decided to say, listen, let's relocate these people. Let's get these people out of this area. Let's focus our energy out of this particular area because this is leaking. So that's one of the things that I think is very important when we talk about, truth and honesty, because these are lives at stakes. Can you imagine if that levee would have broken? Could you imagine that levee would have broken? And then we've heard all of this lip service that other people were saying, well, the levee, the old girl is holding strong. Could you imagine what would have happened? We would have lost lives. We would have lost lives. Yet let's not even talk about property. Let's talk about lives. We would have lost floating bodies. There would have been bodies in the street. But thank God that didn't happen. And thank goodness that the levee didn't break. Listen, what I want to make sure we say is that we dodged a bullet, right? Because you dodged a bullet doesn't necessarily mean that bullet is not going to hit you one day. We dodged it. And I would be mindful for any elected officials to sit down and to celebrate because we dodged a bullet. Number one, we shouldn't have even been in this situation. These levees should not even have been 70 years old without anybody working on them. We shouldn't have been in this situation. So for us to sit back and for some elected officials to sit back and say, breathing a sigh of relief or whatever the case may be, you can breathe that sigh of relief, but please understand we shouldn't have been in this situation. And I urge every elected official to start asking questions in reference to this levee. Trust and believe me, trust this. It won't hold the next time or the next couple of times. So until we get answers, till we find out when our repair is going to be made, when is things going to be done, to me, it's just lip service. I mean, because what I fear is that we would dodge this bullet. What's up, mama? My mom's on, y'all. What's up? Say hello to my mom, y'all. We would dodge this bullet. This bullet would be dodged. And then we're going to something else and we'll forget about it until 3 to 4 years later, another storm happens. So that is my biggest fear, is that, as humans, we become very complacent because we don't have the fire in our face right here. And until the fire is in our face, that's when we want to face it. But we need to make sure that we have preventive actions. But anyway, I'm talking to someone who already knows this stuff. You guys know this stuff. All right, guys, let me go on to our next subject here. Thanks for watching. Do me a favor again. If you just joined, please share this video. I really appreciate it. Let's talk about the Flint water crisis. I know you guys probably have completely forgotten about the Flint water crisis. You guys have probably said to yourself, what is the Flint water crisis? Oh, yeah, I remember the Flint water crisis. And let me just take out time and let's just get some shout outs right here. Guys, this was our team out here at the Flint water crisis. We raised money, at least see Debbie there. We raised money out there helping people with the Flint water crisis that happened back in 2015. 2015, I think that's when it actually kind of it happened. But anyway, so the Flint water crisis was and still is a crisis that is still going on. And what we have seen is what we have seen is that the fact that this water crisis has not stopped. We have seen aid gone to other countries. We've seen aid, money. When I say aid, I'm talking money. We've seen money go to other countries, but what we have not seen is the money go towards Flint, Michigan. Our team went out and we were able to get 16,000 bottles of water that we took to Flint. And it was such a joy to go to Flint back in 2016, to be able to talk to people and to be able to help people and just to talk directly to people, to be able to make new relationships out there. It was such a joy, but we made it happen. So why am I talking about Flint, Michigan? I'm talking about Flint, Michigan is because something remarkable broke. Today, as a matter of fact, this guy right here, his name is Dan Snyder. It's not Dan Snyder, Rick Snyder. Rick Snyder used to be the governor of Michigan. Rick Snyder used to be the governor of Michigan. He is now, and as you know, we had talked about the fact that what is he doing? He was the governor at the time when the crisis came out. So we now see that there are authorities investigating this crisis. They have seized his storage. They seized from his storage the state-owned mobile devices of the former governor and 65 other current and former officials. Also, it goes on to say that documents of the Associated Press obtained through public records requests showed search warrants seeking the devices were sought 2 weeks ago by the Attorney General office and signed by a Flint judge. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody needs to be held accountable for this Flint water crisis because it was a man-made disaster. It was a man-made disaster. I am definitely going to keep saying this is because it is a man-made disaster. And what we need to make sure is that because this happened, we need to make sure that somebody's going to be held accountable. And we knew this. We knew that the governor had information. We knew that the pipes had lead in it. We knew all of those different things, but now it's starting to come out. And I'm grateful for that. That's coming out. So, ladies and gentlemen, the former governor had his possessions seized, his work cell phone and other devices that was seized to find out exactly what's really going on in the Flint water crisis. So hats off to that. All right, let's move on to my next story. Let's talk about this Georgia cop. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys saw this. We talked about this on this program about this particular cop, but if you don't remember it, let's talk about, I'm going to play this video for you so you guys can see it. And then once it plays, we'll come back and we'll talk about it because this is something that needs to be said in reference to what went down on this. This was a big thing that happened. These people, okay. Well, I just tell you what happened. It just showed a video because this audio is not playing. So let me talk about this here. There was a woman who was brutally beat by an officer in DeKalb County. Let me just pause there. And as you can see here, he was beating her and beating her and beating her with his baton. He was beating her. This woman was homeless. She's a homeless woman, and he was literally beating her with his metal baton. All right. So what we see here now is that the Attorney General of DeKalb County, or the Attorney General of Georgia, has now decided to file charges against him. And let's go on and read these charges because I think these charges are really good. He was only charged, he was at a grand jury. This happened back in 2017. He was only charged with, let's see, the grand jury came back with one count of aggravated assault and one count of violation of his oath of office. So they came back with that particular indictment. However, his officer went on to say that he was the officer of the year of 2014, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. I mean, he's been certified. He's 29 years old, and he is now charged with 2 felony counts. He is now charged with those 2 felony counts, and that's kudos. That happened back in 2017, which is good, right? Which is good. We at least got an officer charge. Now, for those who live in Georgia, you have to make sure you follow this case, especially in DeKalb County. You have to make sure you follow this case because this case probably will not go even to trial. probably won't even go to trial. I've said that before. But let me show you guys something that really, really just pisses me off all the time when I see this. This happens all the time, every time we see it. I told you that the victim, the one that he was beating, her name was Katie McCrae. Let me tell you how media works, right? So look at this picture. This is her. So they showed her there. Okay. Now, if you and I was watching this picture from our home, we would think that that's an inmate picture. We literally would think that that's an inmate picture. That's exactly what we would think if we were watching this. So which means that our mentality would have been defined to say that this woman deserved to have that happen. Our mentality, our condition in our mind that she deserves it. We are conditioned in our mind. So they showed that picture. But I'm saying this because this is how media works. Media works like this. And so what ends up happening is that we have individuals who feel as if, hey, it's all good, but they showed her picture. And I hate that. I hate that. Let me just bring her picture back up so you guys can see it, because I want you to see it in full. They showed her picture and it looks like an inmate picture. And I know that she was homeless. I know, but she still didn't deserve that. And ladies and gentlemen, why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because as a person who deals with social justice work, when you are conditioning the jury, this is conditioning the jury. You're already imposing a mentality on the jury before this thing even goes to trial. This is why you always show, you notice that you show people who are people of color, you show them in sentences or you show them in public records. And typically the public records is not a picture off Facebook. No, it's normally a picture for them behind bars. That's the conditioning of the jury pool automatically. So maybe not you and I would be watching this and say that she's guilty, but somebody else who probably will get pulled in the jury pool will see that and be like, well, we love our officers. We love our officers. We know that our officers, are going to do this, and we know that our officers are going to do that. So we're hoping for that. Drew, you said she won't. Tamir Rice, killer, just got another job as a cop. He sure did. You're absolutely right. And yes, even images are structured to the media. And Ms. Staples, you said, I know why. And this is sad. It's the conditioning. Let me put this back up here. It's the conditioning of the media. So when I tell you, when I go off on this and I say that I understand what the media, but sometimes the media can do a worse job in helping the case go forward than conditioning the jury automatically. Shonda, you said we talked about the mugshots. Absolutely, we sure did. So yeah, it's the conditioning of the mind. So I wanted to talk about that, but that is good that that particular Georgia cop has gotten indicted, and he's supposed to turn himself in. So once he turns himself in, we can go on with that. All right. There was a study. Let me go on to my next subject. There was a study that came out here, ladies and gentlemen. There was a study that came out. I'm just going to read the headers for you. It says like this, simply this. It says black men get longer prison sentences than white men for the same crime. This is a study that happened. We knew this. Some of us were sitting there like, duh, we knew this. Yeah, we knew it. We knew it. But somehow, sometimes people got to have a lot of folks who just say, who they think they're smaller than them. They have to have a lot of people to say, yeah, we knew it, but we need a study for it. We need to put some money behind this because it's not really true. So let me read this data to you. I'm going to bring it on the screen so that way you guys can see it. Let me read this data to you right here. And it says African-American men serve, and this is ABC News, I'm not making this stuff up. It says African-American men serve longer sentences than their white men for the same crime. A new study that the U.S. Sentencing Commission shows. The commission's analysts of demographic prison data from 2012 to 2016 found that black men serve sentences that are an average of 19.1% longer than those for white men who have similar crimes. The racial disparity in sentencing can't be accounted for by whether an offender has a history of violence. According to the study by the commission, an independent bipartisan agency that is the part of the U.S. federal judicial branch, violence in an offender's criminal history does not appear to contribute to the sentence imposed, except as it may factor into the score under sentencing guidelines. And this is what their study says. And let me go on to continue reading this study because I think it's really important for us to get the crux of this study here. It says, when accounting for violence in an offender's past, black men receive sentences that were on an average of 20.4% longer than that of white men, according to the Commission Study Analysts of 2016 data. The new study updates an earlier commission reports in 2012, known as the Booker Report, that came after the Supreme Court decision in 2005, U.S. versus Booker, which permitted judges to enhance an offender's sentence based on the facts determined by their own judgment. Before then, federal judges were only allowed to sentence an offenders based on the guidelines provided by the Sentencing Commission. According to the nonprofit organization, the Sentencing Project, the U.S. is the world leaders in incarceration, with 2.2 million people in prison as of 2015, a 500% increase in the last 40 years. The Sentencing Project was also found that black men are nearly six times as likely as white men to be incarcerated, and Hispanic men are 2.3 times as likely. For black men in their 30s, 1 in every 10 is in prison or jail on any given day, according to a 2015 study. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you guys are smarter than me at times. I know that. I know that. But there is so much that I'm going to say and I want to say on this. Let's put it like this. We knew this. We know it's alive. We know that it's there. We know all of that. We know it. Especially if you're black and brown, you know it. You know you have friends. You know you have family members that are incarcerated. There are some of you watching right now who work within the prison system. So you know exactly what I'm saying. And you see people who are black and brown every day. You cannot tell me this is not a coordinated effort. And this is why I preach so much, especially to our black and brown boys, to understand that the system is created against you. The system is created to rejuvenate itself. And I used that term today, and I was talking to someone, and they was like, well, what do you mean, Mark? Meaning that in every aspect of the judicial system, when one leg fails, there's another leg that takes over for that leg that failed. And if they're going to get what they want to get, they will get it. And that's the thing that we have to look at. So the question is, since we have all this information and we have the data that has been spent for all this information, what are we going to do about it? What's going to happen? What are we going to do about it? Why are black men being sentenced longer than white counterparts with the same crime? Why is that? Is it because the jury instructions are more harsher towards people of black descent or brown descent? What is it? What is it that our system has conditioned the jury pool or the judges to condition to say this black man's life is not as valuable as this white man's life? Let's think about that, right? That's a lot to just take in, because the value of a life means the value of a life, right? But all of us, in the terms of a legal context, we all have a cost value of our life. If you don't believe me, ask any civil attorney. They will tell you different people have values on their lives. So I don't want to go into all that, but I'm just saying that we have to sit back and look and find out, why is this a coordinated effort? This was a coordinated effort from the beginning of the inception of America, and this is still the same way. So miss me with all this BS when people turn around and say we are all the same, because we're not. Why are 1 in 10 men in America spending a night in jail? Why is that happening? Why is that happening? So when we sit back and we talk about, we see all the elected officials prim and prime and tell us, hey, here's my cell number. You ask them their question. Are you going to do something about reducing incarceration? As you know, in the state of Oklahoma, we're number 1 for women incarcerated. We're number 1 also for men incarcerated. Oklahoma incarcerates more people than other countries incarcerate people. Let me go to some of your questions here. Millicent, you said, through the GOP, all things are possible. Great. Drew, you said commercializing prisons increase supplies and demand. Absolutely. That's that profit from prison. States get penalized for low incarceration rate. Yep, they have to keep, I believe it's like a 90+% rate. And that, Shonda, you said, especially if you're white, especially if you're white and female, because you are conditioned from a young age to feel like black and brown men, especially, are large in stature. Their lives are threatened. Shonda, I really appreciate you saying that, because, especially because you are, I can pick on you for a minute because I know you, you're a white person and you see this, you see that disparity, you see and you understand that. I wish some of your friends, some of your friends will understand that. And I was talking to someone today, and I was saying, we were talking about my next topic. We're going to talk about that movie. I was talking to someone yesterday, and I was talking about how the condition of our minds for black and brown, we are conditioned to feel inferior to the white male. We are conditioned to feel that way. And so while these factors are playing involved with this, we have the law coming at us in such a way because there's no escape. When an officer sees a black kid doing the same thing that a white kid is doing, he doesn't see that black kid as an uncle or as a cousin or as a brother. He sees that black kid as a threat, as a menace to society, as a turd, right? That's how he sees that black kid. All right, let me go back to some of your, Drew, you said many factors outside of prejudice. Blacks are least likely to have representation. Absolutely. Dan, you said something in the system has shifted the norms off the center of people of color going to prison. Daniel, I think we have to find a reason why, and then we have to change it. That's what I wanted to talk about. All right, my next topic here is the topic everyone in America is talking about as we speak. America has been awakened by Ava DuVernay, and her work in her documentary work that just came out. I am at a point where I know that some of you guys have not seen this movie, and I'm just going to briefly talk about this movie. I promise you I will not give out any spoilers, but the movie I'm talking about is When They See Us. This movie has energized me personally, but this movie has allowed a conversation to happen, not just in our community, but in the sectors where it needs to happen. The white communities, the communities that are the prosecutors, the defenders, the judges. These are conversations that needs to have. And I'm so grateful for Ava putting this documentary on Netflix. It is a hard documentary, ladies and gentlemen. I am not going to sugarcoat this documentary. It is a hard documentary. This documentary is about the Central Park Five. And if you don't know about the story, it happened back in 1989. The Central Park Five were accused of raping a woman, and they were accused of it, and they were children, 14 and 15 and 16 years old. And Corey Wise, the person I just showed you guys, Corey served as an adult. So this is the Central Park Five right here. This is them in their adult years. And they have matured. Let me see if I can remember some names. I'm going to go from left to right. This is Corey Wise. This here in the middle is Tron. I'm just going to call him Tron. This guy here that has the scarf, the brown one, his name is Kevin. This here is Ramon Santana. And this is Yusuf, the tall brother there. Ladies and gentlemen, this story, like I said, it is hard. I'm not going to do any spoilers. I'm not going to tell you because I know a lot of you guys had to see it and you have not seen it. But I'm telling you, when you see it, We're going to come back and talk about this. I hope this will further inspire people who live obligatory lives and feel as if that I don't need to be concerned about these people because the fire is not in my backyard. I'm hoping that these people will become inspired to show up at court cases, to be involved in community relationships, to understand that this is not just a one isolated incident. This is something that happens every day. And I'm hopeful that individuals will become inspired, will sit back and say to themselves, what else can I do? What can I do to change? What can I do to make sure that not another child goes through what Corey Wise went through or goes through what the Central Park Five went through? How can I make a difference? Because you will see, if you have not seen this movie, you will see that every aspect of the system failed them, from parents to community to the police. Even the police started to break down, but then you had another police officer who felt like it was more important for this to jump up. Remember, I was telling you that every leg rejuvenated itself. So even though there was a weakness in one of the legs, there was still someone else to help push that theme there, because that was the focus. We need a body. So you saw the DA also was complicit in that behavior. You saw the sex crimes person. She was complicit in that behavior and has gone on to write many books. And thank God, since this documentary has come out, a lot of people have turned around and protesting to ensure that she is gone. She does not need to profit. She's profited from this, the demise. They also had the judges that felt them. So I'm not giving away the story, but I'm letting you guys know every aspect of the system that was supposed to be there to protect felt them. And they're felling them today. Not just them, they're felling a lot of these black and brown young kids today. They're felling them. They're felling them right now as we speak. Shonda, you said, how many newspapers do you think were sold with those boys' mugshot? Hundreds. Even Donald Trump himself took out two $80 million ads on these boys when they were kids. Donald Trump himself took out that. He automatically thought that they were, and remember I was telling you how the media will shape your mind. A lot of people like me who knew about the Central Park, I think I was like 14 at the time, who knew about the Central Park Five. We knew about it, but we only had the media as a voice box, and we just automatically, well, I guess they did it. But they maintain their innocence. So, guys, I'm not going to talk too much about it because I end up giving it away for those who haven't seen it. But this is what I want to tell you as far as self-care is concerned. Take your time through this film. Take your time. Don't rush this film. There will be times that you need to pause. And I'm so grateful that it's on Netflix and you can hit that pause button. Take your time and process this. There are so many layers to this film that you will not even understand. And there are people who probably don't want to watch it. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. There are many people who probably feel as if I don't need to watch it. I live this. I see this every day. There's no slide to you about that because it is a hard film. And some people who are going through this today and family members are going through this today, they don't need that constant reminder. They don't need it. But this film is about people who are asleep. This film is for people who think that it's okay to live in my nice bungalow and just to feel as if my money is going to pay for everything. And then to say, well, that's an isolated situation. I think that film is for them so that they can actually take a window and see. There will be tears in this film. You will cry. You will get angry. But those feelings are honest and those feelings are needed because you know what? Maybe that's what it takes for us to get pissed off, for us to see what other people have gone through their trials and tribulations and through their family and their friends. Maybe that's what we need to see them go through to get us off our couch and get out there and help go support some form of community awareness. Did it affect me specifically when I was 14? At 14 years old, no, not really. I saw it. I saw it on television. I saw the Donald Trump ad because that ran nationally. They talked about that on CNN. I saw it, but we didn't have a balance. There was no social media then. All we had was New York Times and CNN and the local news that was coming in, and they had already painted this picture. So do me a favor, go and watch this movie, guys. If you really, really, really need to take this window. The name of the movie is When They See Us. That's the name of the movie. It is on Netflix. It is on there for a limited time. I do not know how long it's going to be, but it's definitely on there. I've had a lot of people to reach out to me. And it was like, Mark, I can't do it. Okay. It was like, I can't do it. I cannot do it. Ava deals with a lot of stuff in this film, y'all. There's transgender issues. There's family issues. There's a lot of things. So you mean, when I was of age, did it affect me in the same? How do I answer this? All right, real talk. When you are black, you have the talk in your family. The talk says you don't talk to anybody. A police officer tell you something, you come and get your parents. You have the talk. The talk is there. We're taught to make sure that we are respectful, but we also taught to understand that we can't trust a lot of people. So we had to talk. And yes, this could have happened to me at 14 years old. Come on. It could have happened to me. It could have happened to any of my friends. As we were just out playing around, it could have happened. And that could have been our lives taken, just like these men have their lives. So, like I said, the name of the film is When They See Us. When They See Us. And that is the name of the film. And I think you guys really, truly need to take out time and go see this film. Because I definitely want to talk about it. I've been discussing some type of roundtable video on it, stuff of that nature, because it's touching and it's really addressing some issues that we have in our community that we have kind of put under. So it's addressing some issues. But I am so grateful for Ava doing what she does. You know, Ava picked up a camera at 32. I want to tell y'all guys, you know, she picked up a camera at 32 years old. She's an award-winning documentary. She picked up a camera at 32 years old. This is the name of the film, guys, When They See Us. That's all I have. I'm not getting promoted or anything like that to talk about this film. Amelia, you said this film did its best job to break hearts. It was devastating and humiliating. Corey got the worst. You're right. To be hearing impaired, mentally impaired, and a child, Ava hit home. She sure did. Sure did. Yep. She sure did. Thanks, Amelia. All right, guys. Take care of yourself. That's all I have. Go see this film. Take your time out. Go watch the film. We're going to have a roundtable discussion about this film because a lot of people want to know my thoughts on, we want to take this back piece by piece. That's all I got. Thank you guys. Take care. Share this video, please. Peace out.